Assalamu alaikum and a very good morning to you all. I hope you guys are doing very well. Today you are joining me, Maha Mukhtoom and Shahzad Khan for World This Morning on PTV World and PTV Global, wherever else in the world you may be. Today, Shahzad, we have a fantastic show.
Yeah.
We are really trying to keep on top of things, aren't we?
Exactly. Assalamu alaikum, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, even though you said it, but I still felt like saying it because, you know,
okay.
it's just a normal habit. And I think everybody should have this habit of saying Assalamu alaikum because that's how you should probably pray for somebody else and get the prayers back as well. But on another note, ladies and gentlemen, over here in Pakistan, there are tremendous or different types of sports where we know that people are progressing in and they are very much putting hard work into it as well.
Exactly, and they're being recognized not just within Pakistan finally, but also across the borders as well, all around the world. And we have, yes, Shahzad we're really excited today, so I'm just going to let him do this.
Give it away just like this. So, ladies and gentlemen, other than Pakistan Sports Board or cricket or hockey or any other sport, I mean, these are the conventional sports anyways. There are people who are actually trying to promote different sports, for example, Miss Martial Arts. And that's what we'll be talking about today, because over here in the studios, we've got a legend in the making and a champion who's already a champion as well, and the man who's actually at the back of the champion.
Exactly.
And this gentleman, he went to Singapore to compete in 1FC, and it was his 8th victory. That means that he's only fought like 8 fights, 8 victories down the line.
Yes.
The guy is known as Wolverine. We'll let you see him, but let's just see him in the action first.
Let's go take a look.
来自新加坡，两个人的年龄其实差不多。
Representing TFF Islamabad Combat 360X and fighting out of Islamabad, Pakistan, he is Ahmed Wolverine Mujtaba. Representing Evolve MMA and fighting out of Singapore, roar for your hometown hero, Benedict Hong.
没错，
好，比赛开始哦！哇，一开始就是一个低扫踢，
穿着绿色短裤的就是金刚狼Ahmed穆吉塔巴，
是
而穿着黑色短裤的是本土选手洪正宇。洪正宇一上来，整个气场有一点点那种年轻人的不服啊。
对，
站立和六手，我们看刚说完就要爆摔了。
哇，西撞，郑宇的西撞被挡下来之后，拖到了铁笼旁边。
那整个的防摔表现是非常的出色的，特别是对方稍微有重心的下移，自己马上会做这个打我。是，
可能是因为觉得这个穆吉塔巴的地板技一直获胜胜率蛮高的，现在快要到笼边的西撞，上击拳，
内围双马的箍颈。
好，上击拳之后，洪振宇
选手都是双架选手，
剩下30秒，哇，又一次一个
摔倒了，
直接摔到站上位吗？
所以
继续抓着，继续抓着腿，
继续抓腿，想涮逃开。
Favor of your winner by way of unanimous decision, Ahmed Mujtaba.
Okay, so that was the latest fight by Ahmed Mujtaba, who is also known as Wolverine. We will be introducing to you our guest, but that was also one of the biggest platforms for mixed martial arts in Asia, and that was held in Singapore.
And then obviously the second best in the entire world as well. And people from here, Pakistan, have made it on their own. No sponsorships from within Pakistan as well. There have been different issues, I mean, which they obviously had to go around, but certainly they did not stop and they made their way, and it was his 8th victory. 8 consecutive victories takes quite a lot of hard work as well. Ladies and gentlemen, we need to go for a short break, but please don't go anywhere because we have got the martial artist with ourselves.
Welcome back, everyone. And before the break, as we were saying, we're trying to keep our finger on the pulse, and we have been joined by one of our most recent champions, and we've been also joined by his coach as well. The reason why one of the reasons, the factors why he is where he is. So we have been joined by Ehtesham Karim, who is Fight Fortress mixed martial arts coach. Assalamu alaikum. Good morning. Thank you for joining us. Besides Ehtesham, we've been joined by Ahmed Mujtaba, aka Wolverine. Assalamu alaikum. Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us. It's a pleasure to have you on our show. So I'm going to start with you. How does it feel?
It feels good. I've trained so hard for this fight, and after winning the fight, it feels so good.
Excellent.
I'm just happy because the last time when they got back, Lumi was with him as well. We had them on the show as well. We discussed quite a lot of different things and different issues, and then I had them on another show. So I kind of, I'm getting a flashback right now that, okay, this is exactly how he was and this is how exactly he's going to be, inshallah. But 8 consecutive wins in a row.
How do you do it?
That's something we should talk about. Was it your dedication? Was it him pushing you? What was it all about?
Many things count in this. Of course, I have coaches on my side who trains me and put a lot of hard work in my training and all. And apart from that, it's my dedication and prayers from my parents and coaches. So everything counts in this field.
Excellent.
All right, but Ehtesham, moving on to you, since you're his coach as well, Fight Fortress is your brainchild. You are the ones who came up with the idea that you guys are going to promote such a sport over here in Pakistan, which was quite difficult in the initial years. Now, since the word is all around, everybody's onto it, everybody's looking forward to how Mujtaba and Lumi are performing, because these are the two names or the thumbnails of the MMA or the Fight Fortress right now in Pakistan. Since then, when you actually started, when you didn't have anything in your hand, and now when you've got titles, when you've got sponsorships from abroad, this is one thing which I would love to mention over here. So these are, sportsmen who are representing Pakistan, but then when they go into the international arenas, there's no local domestic sponsor which is actually sponsoring their kits, gloves, Under Armour, whatever the case might be. But look at their hearts.
Okay,
so how difficult was it?
Yeah.
It's just everything takes time. It was pretty natural. When we started things off, we knew we were going to be here, but we never knew how soon or how late it was going to be.
Yeah.
So the only thing we knew that we were not supposed to stop, no matter what the pace is. And obviously, initially, me and Sultan, we wanted to fight ourselves, but when we saw guys like Ulumi and Ahmed and Fazan, guys like that come in and work so hard and do well in that national circuit at that time, we're like, okay, these guys need our full dedication. So we'll have to put, the dream of becoming a fighter aside and be full-time coaches, and thank God that was a good decision.
Yeah, and because they're both doing so well and they're actually making a real mark and a dent in the whole scene. But within, because I remember when we first had you guys on the show till now, you need to stop laughing because you're distracting me.
I'm just smiling.
Okay.
I look cute like that.
Okay, so like Shahzad said, the difficulties now, you've managed to overcome every hurdle. How have you noticed the change now? Are you having people show interest, like Shahzad said, like the sponsorship? How are things changing?
Obviously, things are much better than before. At a very slower pace in Pakistan, in terms of sponsorships and awareness about the sport of MMA. But it's we still have a long way to go. Even this fight, the recent fight, he had a few sponsorships that were local, but they just did not suffice.
Okay.
Or it was just, mad props to those guys for supporting. But there's always a difference between when we're working with local guys and then when we're working with sponsors from abroad.
Okay.
And things are done in a more professional way.
Okay.
But I mean, it's still better.
So no complaints. Yeah.
All right, it's all right. We're enjoying today. We're enjoying the victory.
Yes.
We're celebrating it as well.
But the thing is, we need to highlight the people who have supported you. And your university have supported your Butums, right? So let's talk about
that. All right, let me share my story first of all. So last time when we did a show together, his father called on the show and he was very happy about the fact that he's doing such wonderful work. But then at the same time, by the end of the call, he was like that now you kind of need to come back because you've got your education in between, so please make sure that you're an educated MMA fighter as well.
Yeah.
And then that was the time when he started thanking all of the VCs, the dean, the HOD. And then, after the, in between the break, I was like, Ahmed, why were you kind of thanking everybody else? He was like, I need to get marks as well, man. I need to pass. So is that how you pass?
No,
or
actually
you do
I
study too?
Yeah, I study because when I go back to Quetta, so I'll study, and after that I'll give papers.
Okay, now for you, because you're doing so well within the, within MMA, you're winning all these championships and all these fights. Do you think that it's important to continue doing your studies, or is this something that you're just doing and then afterwards you're just going to completely solely focus on MMA?
No, of course, like studies are like most important, because my dad always been like, you have to be need some degree, because how long
otherwise you cannot fight for MMA.
Yeah, like till 35, 40. Then at the end of the day, like you need something to
fall back on.
Yeah, exactly.
Excellent. Okay, so now going forward, because now you've got this win, I mean, it's fantastic. What does that mean for Fight Fortress? What does that mean for Ahmed? What does it mean for MMA within Pakistan?
Well, starting from Ahmed, it means that he has to train harder and expand his game, because the next opponent is going to be difficult. Because the way it works is he's a featherweight fighter. So if he wins a fight against a good opponent, and if he puts on a good performance, he doesn't have to fight everyone in line in front of him. He can skip 3 or 4 people like that, and we really seriously believe that after this performance, because Benedict Ang was a local superstar, undefeated, and in the amateur circuit he was the champion in Singapore. So, and we pretty much shut his whole game down, right? So it means that harder opponent for Ahmed Mujtaba means more training, more and more time towards training, more and more focus. For Fight Fortress, it just means that we have to, Ahmed Mujtaba is it's the tip of the iceberg. Ulumi is the tip of the iceberg. There's so much more to show in terms of talent in pretty much all the weight classes. And I'm pretty sure that he's the flag bearer for us, and he's the door opener. So he's opened up good doors for us.
Indeed, he is. I mean, let's talk about the fight. Let's talk about all those people who supported you in this voyage of yours, where you went and you kind of took down the champion of Singapore, and then you came back and obviously became a champion for us, and you were always a champion. So who were all those people who kind of made sure that this trip is going to be a successful one for you? All of those sponsors, all of those names. Let's do this.
First of all, I'm gonna share a small story.
Sure, thank you very much. That something's gonna come out at least.
We had a lot of problems regarding the visa thing, because Coach Sultan was going with me, and he couldn't go because our visa got rejected, and then we reapplied for the visa, and
I get
it happened
so it was quite a difficult phase for you guys to pass.
And after that, I want to thanks to my sponsors, Diesel Diva, Reps Fitness, Maverick London, and Butums, and Oxygen Lounge.
South Canvas
Oxygen Lounge.
Oxygen Lounge.
Sponsoring an MMA fight, man. That's cool.
That's not because of the business, but the guy is South Canvas is a really cool guy. He's a strong supporter.
He
wants to promote
ZS Traders, the guy who gave me the gear and who made my shirt and shorts for the fight.
Right.
And that's it for the sponsors.
Okay, great. Okay, so now when you were actually there, so what was it like, getting there, being without your coach? How did it feel?
Of course, I was a bit nervous and a lot of pressure, because it was a big fight for me and I wanted this fight to win. So I was a bit of confused, because I need someone at my back who would be cornering me the way I wanted, because my coaches know my game and they know how to what's the proper timing, what's the proper thing to do at that
particular moment.
Yeah, particular
so you want somebody to yell from the corner, right?
Okay.
You should probably get married, man.
So I felt a bit pressurized at the moment, but alhamdulillah, the main thing was to win the fight.
That's great, very nice. Okay, so everybody got to know about your fight and your victory from all of those pages we follow, Fight Fortress, and then, we all are on our Facebook pages as well. So I was going through a few posts, because I kind of shared the fight and the victory where you were actually holding the flag as well, and you were all happy. Good. Why do you think that the media did not respond to all of what we kept on saying and we kept on posting on our Facebook pages as well? Because earlier there was a call that, we're going to go receive him from the airport. Then there was a call that the media is now playing a particular role, which they showed. Why do you think that such a thing is there?
the media needs to, I don't know, educate itself more on different variety of topics. I understand politics and cricket and some of these things they're just a hot topic in Pakistan, and it's a thing, it's a selling thing. But at the same time, the media needs to realize that there's new things coming up, and they're as popular as cricket, and they probably have more diehard fans than cricket, more educated, and that's just our way of connecting the country to the rest of the world, to stay up to date with the modern, whatever's happening today. So the last time it was when him and Lumi won, it was crazy. Everybody just went gaga over it. It was solely because of that whole Pakistan-India thing. I've said it before. I'm going to say it again. I understand the way this whole thing works, but at the same time, if you want to make room for more market, you need to bring in more stuff. And second, the people who are whoever's job is this to do the research, they should do the research. And whoever the people part of the sports department or whatever it is, if it's a sports journalist, he needs to study or read up about MMA. There's already so much stuff online, available online, that we have to go and reiterate it over and over again, over and over again, over and over again. And if they just see the level of promotion 1FC is, the level of promotion WSIF was where they last fought, or the kind of things these guys have to go through, and the kind of love and respect they get, I'm pretty sure they'll do their research and things will be better down the road. So that's what they need to do, educate themselves more.
Okay, and just this is a personal question, that as someone who's worked so hard and trained, and you see the fighters really striving and struggling, how does it make you guys feel actually when the response isn't what you would have expected it to be?
We really don't expect that much, because we understand whatever's happening around us. We've seen the way the people of this country, or the way the masses have always reacted to something new, something that they don't understand. And we totally get it and we understand it. That's exactly why the promotion and advocacy of the sport of mixed martial arts is like probably the main agenda, apart from building fighters. Because the fighters will come from anywhere. It's like this is a country of fighters. It's in our culture, in pretty much every culture, right? There's a warrior culture. So what the most important thing is educating the masses. We were not that hurt, but we expected a little bit of attention, especially after their performance the last time.
All right, one last thing before you guys leave, and that is that you guys were even holding like different local competitions as well. You guys went to Lahore. Are there any other local events, domestic events, which are coming up? And then what's up next for Ahmed, Mujtaba and Alumi Karim as well?
Yeah, there's a couple of events coming up, so the people should watch out for early or mid-January. There's a new event coming up, and after that, obviously, Ahmed will be fighting very soon, because 1FC has already notified us he's going to get his next bout.
Wow,
and
excellent.
yeah, Alumi Karim is doing he's trying to finish his studies right now, so that he can solely focus without the stress. And that's pretty much about it.
And that's the best part as well, that besides being champions and being so influential on other people, thank God that you guys are giving out a message that education is important, true, but fighting is importanter.
Great, thank you so much for your time today, and best of luck with everything. And we will try to keep up with you guys and support you as much as we can. Thank you so much for being here. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. That was our champion, Ahmed Mujtaba, aka Wolverine.
Exactly. And ladies and gentlemen, champions are not just made like that. There's quite a lot of character building behind that. Coaches can play their role, but parents have actually played their role when he was a young kid. What made him a fighter was his character. So all you need to do is stay tuned, because when we're going to come back from this short little break, we're going to have somebody who's going to tell us how to build your character in a very wiser manner. Good morning. Let's take a break.
largest cultural activity in Pakistan is the annual National Folk Festival, Lok Mela, held in Islamabad in October each year. Over the past 2 decades, this festival has taken on an international flavour, and more than 20 different countries have sent their artisans and performers to participate in the festival. Nationally, the festival has become a thing of pride for artisans and performers who come on their own to participate. Most important of all, the provinces of Pakistan and Azad Jammu and Kashmir put up beautifully decorated pavilions, and visitors had the unique opportunity to see an assortment of Pakistan's traditionally rich culture in the federal capital of Islamabad for an exciting 10 days. An exhibition of artisans at work under the banner of the Heritage Museum forms the core of this festival. Pavilions of each province depict their own regional culture and crafts. The Research and Media Centre of Lok Virsa arranges groups of dancers that perform all over the festival grounds, inviting visitors to join in, and in the evening arranges music concerts from all parts of Pakistan. This festival is a true depiction of the diversity found in Pakistani culture. Fairs and Festivals of Pakistan.
Welcome back, everyone. And before the break, we were joined by our champions in mixed martial arts, Ahmed Mujtaba, aka Wolverine, and his coach, Ehtesham Karim, who represent Fight Fortress. Now, as Shahzad said, he did a wonderful link, and I don't think there's anything I need to add to it, is that in order to be successful in life, you know, your childhood, your environment plays a vital role in it. And then it's not just that, it's when you get into the real world, how do you approach things? How do you focus? How do you complete tasks? So it's all about that, right?
Because half of the time, not even half of the time, I think 100%, this is what happens, that when you step outside, you're going to meet businessmen, you're going to see people from the corporate arena, you're going to see people who are teachers, you're going to see people who are engineers, doctors, whatsoever, and they're going to have an impact on you.
Yes.
They will influence you to an extent where you might even think, I should have been a doctor, or I should have been an engineer. So it depends on you, and most of the time you get influenced just because of the fact that there was a meager leak within, you know, when it was your year or it was your turn to build or develop on your own character as well. Because the one who's satisfied by what he or she is doing is the one who's got the best character in my terms.
Okay, exactly. But in order to be satisfied with what you're doing, you need to, it's all about your environment.
It's not that you know, you do not leave your job. But if something is bugging you, you do leave it, start doing something else.
Okay, yeah. So to discuss about this, to talk about how do we build character and how do we motivate people from childhood into adult life. As we've seen, you know, Ahmed's motivation is incredible, you know, so we'll talk about that. So we've been joined by Dr. Ambreen Ahmed, who is a psychiatrist. Assalamu alaikum, good morning. Thank you so much for joining us today. It's been a very long time.
Yes,
we've been aching to get you back on the show. Besides Dr. Ambreen, we've been joined by Mr. Asif Nazir. He is a motivational speaker and he works within business as well. Assalamu alaikum, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much for calling.
Okay, so as some of our viewers know, last week we had a show on motivation and character building, and we spoke about it from childhood. But we're going to build up on that with Dr. Ambreen. Now, going forward, we'll take it from the example of Ahmed. He, despite his difficulties or hurdles that he's faced, he's managed to succeed in his in his field of choice. How do we get to that point? Because there's very few people who are able to pick a passion and follow through and succeed at it.
You're absolutely right, because it is difficult.
Yes.
There are a lot of pressures from the outside. But I think that if you look at it from, since I'm a child psychiatrist,
Yes.
I can talk about it from a, how do parents, what role can they play?
Yes.
I think it really is how you shape a child and what kind of sense you give to that child of him being an individual
Right.
within a society where, yes, he has to balance those norms. He has to keep in mind those, boy or a girl, both of them need to understand that they're living in a society, and that's the context that they're going to be growing up in.
Right.
But at the same time, they have some individual strengths. They have some things that drive them on, that are their passion.
It gives them a kick.
Absolutely. And that's where parents' role becomes very important, to give importance to that,
Right.
to tell them that, yes, this is, if you want to do this, go ahead. We are behind you. We'll back you up. At the same time, parents have to create that sense of discipline.
Right.
If you want to do it, then you have to work at it. You can't just have it because you get a kick out of it. You've got to work at it. So it's both ways. I think the discipline, instilling that
Right.
sense that, if you want something badly enough, you've got to work at it.
Okay, wonderful.
But character building in general, how does it work and how does it apply to all of us as well?
Well, I think part of it has to do with the person. Okay, so it's not all about the environment. It's also
So the
about
major
your own.
chunk is with
It's
me,
your own
from my own
individual
tribe.
sense as well. But certainly, environment plays a great role in that. And some characters are built because of opposition.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily that everybody is pampering you along.
Yeah.
Sometimes some people come out because they've struggled.
So you call that sense of competition, or you call that sense of letting somebody down?
No,
I mean, these can be two different dimensions of a character, right?
Right.
Because somebody might be winning just because they want to win. Somebody might be winning just because they want somebody to lose. These are two very different.
That's a different
and
approach.
That's
different
a
approaches, yes.
Yes,
Indeed.
absolutely.
But then that does identify the type of character you might have.
You're absolutely right. Okay.
So how do we work on it?
Well, I think that important thing is that if you want to build character in a healthy individual,
which we call healthy.
Yes, which we call healthy, then certainly the idea is not just to make somebody lose. Okay, I think the way I look at it, if I look at it in sense of power, okay, you can see power as a cake, and you can say well, if I have more, I need to have more, because if I don't, the others will have more.
Yeah.
Or you can see power as a candle, okay? And the more candles I light, the more power there will be, okay? And so that's
You
the way.
relate.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so that depends on that's a personality trait as well, to a certain
Yes.
degree, correct? Okay, now going forward, for the parents to identify and create a healthy environment to build a positive character within their child, how do we do that? Because we're living in an age where there's a lot of competition, there's a lot of technology, there's a lot of exposure, and on top of that, within this culture, we're also then fighting that, trying to maintain our cultural identity without selling our souls and modernizing too much or westernizing too much. How do we bring that all together? Because these days parents are getting quite confused, and as a result the child might be getting quite confused kind of signals from their parents. So you have the traditional way where you conform to a certain degree, then you have the modern way where you appreciate individuality. How do we find that balance for the parents?
I don't necessarily feel that modernization has to go against our values and our culture. Okay,
Right.
There are lots of very good things about, and even in our own history, there are people who have stood out because they have believed in what their cause.
Right.
So I don't necessarily see that clash. I think what's happened is there's a confusion. Modernization does not necessarily mean materialism.
Right.
It also means opening your mind up. being able to accept different culture, good things about different cultures.
Right.
That is also modernizing.
Okay.
So,
All right. So very quickly now, moving on to Asim sir. Very sorry to make you wait, but we wanted to build up to a level where now the children have actually grown up and they're going to be in the professional arena. So now all of this, what is being said is, how many times as a motivational speaker you do see that people are being influenced or are in the wrong hands just because of the fact that they're relating to whatever is going on and they never got a side of what we thought was a healthy character building exercise?
Well, my viewpoint is that first of all, we have to understand, we talk a lot about character, that it's a character building and character, but actually, if you ask somebody what is character and what are the ingredients we are looking in that character, so it's very hard. The people, they cannot answer that. Yesterday, I was skimming through a newspaper, and as there is a protest going on in the United States against their elected president, so there was a wonderful lady who had a big banner in her hand, and just 2 words mentioned: character matters.
Okay.
So just imagine this word is equally important for the head of states, for head of organizations, for head of families, for the trainers, for the media people, for everybody. So what this word is actually, it's a combination of primarily 6 ingredients. Number 1, it is being trustworthiness.
All right.
This ability is that it is the ability to be trusted by others.
Exactly.
When the people, they trust you. If you are trustworthy as a leader, as a head, and the people, they're gonna trust you.
So this is one of the flavors.
One of the thing, a wonderful thing. Secondly, it is respect.
All right.
Respect is what? Respect is what?
Respect is always mutual.
It is mutual. I respect other the way I want to be respected.
Exactly.
I should respect my junior the way I want to be respected by my seniors.
Exactly.
This is simple philosophy. Third thing, there is responsibility. It is your ability to respond in a different situation. And it is said that we human beings, we have got this unique birth gift of having the freedom of choice.
Yeah.
Means any situation, we have this ability to choose.
Okay.
So if we're going to react, that would lead to failure. And if we are proactive in any situation, definitely that would lead to success.
Half of the time I do forget to, turn off the dishwasher.
Okay.
Because my mother thinks that I cannot fulfill responsibilities. It's all right.
Then the fourth one is caring.
Okay.
We should be caring. We should be taking care of the people.
Yeah.
There is a word, kiss up and kick down.
Okay.
It should not prevail that you are all the time kissing your bosses and seniors, but you.
I've lost the count with this phrase.
Okay. Right.
Then the fifth one is being fair.
Yeah.
Follow the rules, rule of law, and the last one is you should be a nice citizen.
Okay. Excellent.
So all the legal and ethical. So if now the simple philosophy is, if a person is integrated with all these universal laws like this, he is a man with a high integrity and he is a man with a character.
Okay.
Or a woman. Yeah, I said it. No gender discrimination.
No gender discrimination on this show.
Yeah.
No, okay, now that's wonderful, and those are those are all the key ingredients to have a good character and have integrity, and and then I'm sure you can face anything. But when I'm going to bring it back to the childhood, because it's very important, because a lot of mothers and fathers are watching this right now, is that you said that modernizing is not a negative thing. Absolutely not. But in this day and age, when there is such a rush, there's so much population. I'm not trying to be negative, but I just want to talk about people who face the difficulties.
Yeah.
Creating all these different characteristics within a child, it's very difficult. Like you said, there are multiple external, internal factors. How does a parent try to balance that? Because you have the home culture, you have the society culture, and then you have the bigger picture. So how are we going to do this?
I think the most important thing that we need to convey to parents is that you have to model what you want your child to be like. You've got to do it yourself, okay? You can't just be talking about it. That doesn't work.
Exactly.
You've got to model it. And also you've got to be you've got to understand that you don't necessarily have to be your child's friend. You are the parent Okay, so if the child comes home and says everybody's got designer shoes and I want them, you need to be able to sit down with your child and talk about that.
Yeah.
Why that's not necessarily what makes them into
But they
a
just start
wonderful.
crying. I mean, they'd never have a conversation.
That's why you're the parent.
Well, that's why you're the parent.
Yeah, but
That's
that,
right.
but that since I'm a parent myself, I'm a father.
You have to go through these things.
Yeah, I have to go through all of these
Yes.
things, and then I have to obviously sacrifice. So for all those parents who are out there, you do have to sacrifice if you want to be a good parent. Otherwise, it does not really. If it does not really matter, it does not matter to your kid as well. But now, on another note, what is very difficult for people like us is that when you're in your probably I'm not in mid-30s, but that's how it feels. From 25, when you start your practical journey. What happens is that the pressure starts to build on.
Yes.
You get married, obviously very earlier, and parents, they want you to be successful, they want you to do your own thing, but eventually when you're out there, when you're in the stadium, when you're on the pitch, there are too many other pressures which might probably diverge your character towards something else.
Yes.
How do you think we can get rid of all of those divergences and then be on the right path? Because this is the most difficult thing in this day and time.
Right. Well, I don't think
So
that you
first
can.
you and then.
Yes, I don't think you can get rid of them.
Yeah.
The pressures are going to be there. You've got to strengthen yourself. You've got to find support systems. Okay. Other people like you, who are on a different path, who don't necessarily want to go along the same rat race.
Want you to join the bandwagon.
Right. So you've got to find that support,
Yeah.
and you've got to be strong within yourself.
All right.
Okay, and
Yes.
Very important thing, as ma'am also talked about, that when we talk about character building and the pressures, when we are actually abide by all the universal principles, as we talked about, that if someone is integrated with all those principles, the pressure would be there in the market. When you go out, there is a contest, there are competitions, but if you abide by all these principles, you can sustain there, one thing. And second, very important thing is when we are teaching our kids, our juniors, about the character building, what matters the most is
All right.
people, kids, students do what you do. They don't do what you say. So the important thing is, if as a parent, as a teacher, as a trainer, if you just set the example, you lead by example, then you are giving this message to your kids and students that come up with this kind of character.
Okay, and that's great. So even within the workplace, how does that work? Because within Pakistan context, within certain organizations and certain levels of organizations, it isn't like that. You have people waltzing in at any time they like, and then you, as a person who's working there, how do you not fall into that trap? Because it's very easy to say, keep those 7 characteristics together, but when faced with reality, we have our weaknesses, we are human beings. So how do we combat that in order to be successful?
Thing is simple. Character is, there are 2 things, character and personality.
Right.
Character is deep rooted. If you just look at an iceberg model, character is somewhere below the water. You can't see that. And 90% is your character. And you can't fake your character.
Right.
Yeah, never.
And personality is apparently what you look like, your dressing, your appearance, your, the way you talk, the way your behaviors. But if your character is solid, then whatever the situation is in your practical job, everywhere, you can perform up to the standards.
Which
that
definitely
depends-
means that if it's deep rooted,
Sorry.
that means
Yes.
that, since the time you started growing older,
Yeah.
that's when
Well,
it started
actually,
growing
we're running
as
out of time, but you wanted to say something. Did you want to?
No, I just want to accept what you were saying, that the pressures are there. The pressures are very much there, and you really have to connect with people who think like you, who will
system.
support you. So the support system is important.
Okay, wonderful. And actually, we run out of time, and it's always too short with you. Thank you so much for joining us today and
Thank
continuing
you.
this conversation. And we will get you back on the show and discuss it more in depth and a bit more focused.
I think that's what we need to do.
Yep, exactly. We need to also motivate ourselves. So do log on to our Facebook fan page,
Which is with the name of World This Morning.
our Twitter page,
World This Morning without a G.
our Daily Motion and YouTube
World
page,
This Morning once again.
and the repeat of that.
11 p.m.
Have a wonderful day. We'll see you bright and early tomorrow.
Till the next time, 1, 2, 3.
Good
morning. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So,